Welcome to The Good Ride. I'm James Beastie, and after, close to 1,000 snowboards reviewed, I'm still stoked and I still feel young, just with a bit of arthritis. And today, I'm talking about the Burton Sketch Artist. And the best way to describe this board might be saying you take a little bit of the old con artist, a little bit of the showstopper with a dash of something new and fun, and you put it into a shorter, wider, aggressive, stiff, poppy, hard turning, hard driving board that does feel a little technical, not that great for real quick turns in this size, but overall could be a unique board to add to your quiver or even stand up as a daily driver if that's what you're into. I rode it with Union Force and my Nitro Team TLS, and I got this board in spring. I was hoping to ride this in some powder, but didn't really get any. I got it in a few inches of soft, thick powder on top of hard snow, and it was a bit uneven in most places. Then I got it on some good groomers. Just so you know, this is an honest, objective review, and we can do that thanks to reader support and also support from shops like Blower Board Shop, who've been selling to snowboarders longer than most resorts have been allowing snowboarders on the hill. So if you want to support honest, objective content, buy through our links to Blower Board Shop and help support objective content and a great store. So when it comes to sizing, this 155 in some situations felt great and in others felt like too much board for me. As it got uneven and messy, it became a little more hard to turn from my size 9 boots. It felt really wide over the front foot and a little less wide over the back foot. And there is 8 millimeters of difference there, and that's a lot for snowboarding. But it always handled my 190 to 192 pounds when I was riding this pretty well, and it works well with my 510 frame. When it comes to the shape, this is pretty directional and pretty tapered. It has 18 millimeters of taper. You're sitting a little further back on this board, but yet somehow it doesn't feel as set back on board as you would think. You feel like you got a lot more tail there for landings and such. And I didn't really feel as much of that balanced free ride geometry side cut going on as I normally do. Now, looking at this camber profile, Burton always does directional camber really well. There's a good bit of early rise before the nose, but not too much, and a lot of camber underfoot. With this wider width and stiffer flex underfoot combined with that directional camber, it feels a little more technical than some directional camber boards would for this size in this shape. So I'd say this is best for advanced experts only. A committed intermediate will take some lumps on this and might accrue some pretty sizable hospital bills. But it is stable. When it came to edge hold, I felt like it was competent, but not full-on grippy. It really had its limits in hard snow, where on same-day testing with other boards with more aggressive disruptions in the side cut, I felt that I could lean into the edge more in harder snow with other boards versus this, but it's doable for those semi-hard days and below. Let's talk Sketch Artist Flex here. It's stiffer than it looks. It seems like it's going to be a chill board, and it's not that chill. It's definitely well into medium stiff. Down in the tail, it's pretty stiff. Wasn't that easy to butter. It took some work there. And the nose is a little softer. It was a little more easy to butter, but overall, this is a much stiffer, more aggressive flex than it looks, especially for this width. And there is lots of pop. You just have to work for it. But it's not outside the realm of the average snowboarder like myself, and I felt like this had very solid spring to it on an ollie and out of a turn. And when it comes to uneven snow performance, this did very well. In soft, uneven snow, it didn't buck me around that much. Burton has poppy boards and sometimes they can buck a little bit in that area, but this didn't have that ultra light, hollow, ultra bucky, chattery feel to it. It could handle hard, uneven snow almost as well as it handled soft, uneven snow. And I think overall, it's a very good all-day ride. Now, when it comes to turning the Sketch Artist. It's not quick to initiate a turn, especially for my size 9 boots, my 190 pounds, and 5'10 frame. But once I got it on edge, it was really fun to engage into a harder turn. I wanted to just lean into this and see what it was capable of, because it was just telling you to carve, to get after it. And that's what this board does. When I front foot weighted it, I felt like I had so much board on that front foot, it was hard for me to leverage it, as opposed to center weighting and back foot weighting and really leaning into the back as you came out. That's when this board came alive, and it was really powerful. It really built on each turn, popped me out so hard, and set me up for the next turn so well. So pretty impressive turner. Just the pop and drive is just so powerful, springy, fun. And while this isn't a bomber board, for a 55, this thing can handle some speed. You can point it, but the side cut is also not that bad for the speed too. It didn't feel hooky or weird, like it wanted to start turning when you were going straight. So this is a competent straight liner for such a small ride. When it comes to base glide, I felt it was good, but not amazing, but it didn't feel chalky or weird like a lot of Burton models have felt over the last few years. This is doing a much better job, so decent base. I'm very curious to see what this would be like in PAL, but unfortunately for the time I had it, I wasn't able to test it. But I think it would float pretty well with all this nose, this good amount of taper, the small tail, and the decent setback on board. I wouldn't call it like a dedicated powder board, but it's going to be very good for a board that rails such hard turns in groomers. This is doable, switch, but not ideal, and not the kind of board I want to bring into the park. But it all depends on who you are as a rider. Overall, I felt like while this wasn't 100% my board and it didn't have the magic of the showstopper that I loved in the past, or that more mellow con artist kind of feel, this has a unique personality for those that want to carve hard and charge on a shorter, wider ride, but not a full-on short wide. It's going to be a hard board to recommend to a lot of people, but if what I described appeals to you, you might have a hell of a time with this.
Hey everybody, Davey Boy here, talking about the Sketch Artist from a big guy's perspective. I rode this board on a spring day that started firm and then softened up into slush. This board was sent to me in a 163. I'm 6'3.5", 245, size 12 boot. This board fit me perfectly. I liked the length, I liked the width. I had no heel or toe drag. I had no issues with the sizing. However, the one problem I had with this board was it felt a little edgeless, a little washy when I was trying to carve, especially on the harder part of the morning, and it felt a little chattery in the harder pack. So I did not feel that confident carving aggressively at higher speeds when it was firm in the morning. Once it softened up, this board did well. It powered through the slush and uneven soft snow with ease. This board had a really fun turning experience. It has a nice healthy bow of directional camber. Personally, I liked the counterbalance better from Burton, but this is still a fun board. Yeah.